What is up, all you beautiful people? I hope everyone has had a wonderful week. The date is Friday, December 9th. It is 6 o'clock on the dot. Bringing in your weekend. It is the Battaglia Theory. And we are so happy to have each and every single one of you watching, listening, whether you're working, driving, sitting here just watching my ugly mug on this screen. I apologize in advance for that one. And guys, it's been a week, man. I hope everybody has had, like I said, just a wonderfully blessed week. It's been a interesting week for me. As I brought up in the last podcast a little bit, I have a child who's special needs. He's got a tube that goes in his stomach. It's how he eats. He doesn't really hold nothing down. He hasn't since he was born. He's about a year old. And every about month and a half, something just happens where his body just doesn't want to regulate anymore, And when it doesn't, he just tanks, and we got to spend a couple days in a hospital. Well, that timeline rolled up again this week. So me and her went up there, and ambulance rides and all sorts of fun, crazy stuff. And so we went up and stayed in Vanderbilt with him for a couple of days. They got him straightened out again and got him home. He's smiling and happy once again. And it like I said, it's just been a week. If parents know when their child's sick, you don't want to be going through it. If you could take it away from them, you could, and you would, and it was just an interesting week. But we all got through it unscathed and on the other side. And I'm so happy that I was able. That was whenever I went up to the hospital, it was probably one of the first things I worried about, other than him. He already done crossed through my mind at this point, and I was like, dang, I hope I can make it back in front of the podcast and for the podcast. I appreciate you, Perry. My man Perry Hartman of Painter's Dream Productions is backstage making sure this podcast is running and making it look as professional as it can with somebody like me behind the wheel. But today we have a bunch of different stuff I want to talk about. We're going to talk about Christmas, since Christmas is coming up. I've got a guest who will help me out, help me explain the story of Christmas better. But either before or after, however it goes through, we're going to be talking about the James Webb Space Telescope. Okay, I know this is far out for a lot of people. All right, but I stumbled upon some things about it, and it was just crazy to learn about, and we'll get into it deeper into the podcast. And I know I jump around, but that's just the ADHD in the boy, and you gotta just roll with it, I guess. You either like it or you don't. I hate it for you. I don't like it any more than you do, I assure you. But it's crazy, man. Never thought I'd be sitting here doing a podcast with everybody watching me, being on the internet and just enjoying life. It's crazy how things line up and everything falls into place. The Battaglia theory, like I said, it's just a theory. I'm not sitting here trying to be the man that's got all the answers, but I take a certain interesting aspect on life from the hands I've been dealt. And with that opinion, you either like it or you don't. And I do what I can to just reach people as much as I can in a positive manner. Sometimes traffic gets the best of me, people get the best of me, but generally speaking, I generally love to spread positivity around. And that's what really got the basis of this podcast started. A lot of you might be tuning in from last week. A lot of you might not be tuning in from last week. Either way, I'm going to talk. And I hate to say it, you're the ones that are going to have to hear it. But like I said, this podcast, it's about inspiration and innovation. And innovation is such when innovation, people think innovation tech but there's so many ways you can innovate yourself. And it starts with self. You got to work on the thing carrying you through this life, which is your soul, your spirit, the person that makes you you. You know, and there's just a lot of negativity and so much negative, just thoughts, actions, war, all this stuff going around the world, and it's just insane to see that it's just been a part of human history. Human history is really an interesting subject to me, and I'm sure deep down in this podcast I'll take a dive into it. I'm not a historian. I'm nobody educated by any means. I'm just a man that's interested with life itself. So that's why we decided to start the Battaglia theory. We we're starting off small. We're in a small town called Sparta, Tennessee, and not many people have heard of Tennessee, let alone Sparta. You probably wouldn't. But how you reach lives and how you impact people is you start with yourself and your family and your household, and then after that you go to community. Right? You outlook everything that's negative in the world that you'd like to change. Change for the better. And one of the ways to do that is by starting in your community. There's so many educated people, interesting people in the towns around you. I haven't been everywhere, but everybody's interesting, and there's towns everywhere, and everybody lives in the towns. It's a whole big cycle effect. We all just want to succeed in life, but we tend to forget the people that we're going through life with, and how we have to carry them as well, because sometimes it's going bad for us and we can't do it neither. But like I said, it starts local. And um and how I look at my local town and the things around me, I see just a lot of people just trying to make the best out of the hands that they're given. So many people I know have tried to start businesses from the ground up by themselves, and it's such a positive feeling to know that people are just they're making it happen by any means necessary, you know. And I'm trying to do that through this podcast. I'm not sitting here trying to make up a whole infrastructure in a business, but I'm trying to do that on the web, because the web's all the rage nowadays, I reckon. But for for businesses and business owners, I just want to I can't stress this opportunity enough, how I would love to just help every single one of you in my town, in the towns around me, wherever you're hearing this and wherever this impacts you. If you are somebody who's trying to start it from the ground up like I am, and you're not getting the people, we all have people. We all know people that can help everybody for the greater good, you know? So I would like to extend out that hand to anybody that is starting a business, has an idea, just anything to make their lives better for them and their families, and following their dreams and their passions. So, like I said, I cannot stress enough. If you would like to email me at the Battaglia Theory at gmail.com with any sort of ideas that you have that you want to get spread out there, please email me. And me and Perry, we will get together with you. We will get together with you, and we will figure out what is best for you and what you want from your dream. Painter's Dream Productions was started from a dream. And look what it's doing now. It's running my podcast. It's running so many things. And dreams are how we make it through this world. People aspiring to make those dreams happen, make those dreams come true is the whole point of life, you know? And if I can be a part of that in any way possible, like I said, please email me at thebattagliatheory@gmail.com. I know that's literally all I talk about is the Battaglia theory, the Battaglia theory, the Battaglia theory. I know everybody's tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing my last name, honestly, at this point. But like I said, I just can't stress enough how it helps me, but it also helps people around me. At the end of the day, I try not to be a selfish person. I try not to use everything that I have in my life for me. I try to see how that can help everybody else because I know what it's like to be struggling. You know, I know what it's like to, and that's struggling in every way of the word, form, fashion, you know, financially, spiritually, monetarily, you know, what just every way possible of struggling. I've seen it. Yes, I'm only 25 years old, but I've lived a life, you know, and I try not to put everything out here, you know, but I'm just telling you, I've been through it. I don't have it as bad as most people, you know, I have a roof over my head, clothes on my back, you know, but as far as stresses in my life, they've happened, you know, and they happen to everybody, no matter how big, no matter how small, they happen to everybody. And everybody is, their opinion matters on what they think is stress and how that helps and how that changes their life, you know, and how that affects their day to day. But if I can help you in any way possible, like I said, please, thebattagliatheory@gmail.com. Well, I have a guest today, guys, that's going to talk about dreams and Christmas and the telescope and all sorts of crazy theories with me. He is not only my friend, but I look to him for advice in any possible way that I possibly can. You know, I know I just said possible twice, but I cannot say enough about this man. He's affected my life so much. He's turned me into the man that I need to become, not only for me, but for the people around me, my family, and the area of the people that I live with and the world. That's how it starts, like I said, with yourself. But without any further ado, I would like to welcome my good friend, Sam Scavo, right on cue. Look at that. Look at you. You're handsome Italian, man. You look so good.
From another handsome Italian.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are both fine Italian men. That's why you see so much fine specimen on this room. In this room, here's a headphone for you. Don't mind the dirt on it. Let's get you in here. Oh, other way.
Right.
There you go.
There we go.
I even told you right here and everything. Well, Sam, I appreciate you joining me for this.
Oh, terrific.
Thank you.
Terrific. I'm so excited.
I know.
I watched last week, and you were infectious. How excited you were and pumped up you were. You're talking about positivity. You talked about it last week. You're talking about it this week, and the world needs more positivity. And like we're talking about how we change our world. There's that old story, that old adage about the man who says, you know, I want to change the world. I want to change the world for the better. He said, you know, but the world is so big. So where do I start? I'll start in my own country. I'll start in the country that I know and I love. But my country too is so big. So maybe in my own town. Even my town though. Where do I begin in my own town? Well, I know I'll start in my own home. Well, my home, there's plenty of places to change and make better, but how do I even begin with that? I shall start with myself, right? You know, so positivity it begins with us, right? It just comes out. And you, sir, you're living your dreams. You're talking about dreams tonight. You're living your dreams, and it's exciting, and it's an honor. It's an honor for me to get to sit here with you and just talk. That's all. This talking. Listen, Joe Rogan, he's you know, what is he, like a fighting dude, you know?
Everything.
Yeah,
he's everything.
I know him from Fear Factor. I'm not an MMA guy, but
Fear Factor was a cool show.
right. But I'm not going to have a conversation with Joe Rogan. You know,
yeah.
he's a different level. He's talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know,
yeah.
I like something relatable. We're just dudes talking, and I like that. That's relatable. You know, that's relatable today, and people who are tuning in are going to see it. They're going to say, you know, it's just cool folks. You know, so
yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah. We might not, we're starting small. You have to in your community. And we didn't plan it. We planned us meeting together, but as far as what we talked about, I just wanted to basis what was going on. That whole speech that he just gave, all unplanned. This man, I'm telling you, that's why I had him on the show. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal about just his words and poetry. No, it ain't just me. It ain't just me, my man. Well, like I said, we started off this podcast talking about dreams, and we started talking about that thing called the James Webb Telescope. And I've got a whole bunch of pictures here that everybody at home can see, and you can see as well.
You got to preface this. What is a James Webb Telescope? I don't know what it is.
All right. Well, the James Webb Telescope, it's a space telescope that we launched. Goodness, December 25th, 2021. So that was not all. It was almost last year. We're almost last year.
So we launched it on Christmas last year.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it took 30 minutes for it to reach 1,000,000 miles away from Earth. 1,000,000 miles, and it's an infrared telescope that can see. I was looking up some crazy just because these pictures and this telescope, I don't know, man, talk about dreams, and space has always been a big interest of mine. I don't know if it's been an interest of everybody.
It's the final frontier.
It's the final frontier. There's so many movies made about space, and we just don't know about space. And some of these facts that I learned and I read about, it was just interesting to see how space worked, because we made a camera that could see. It is literally it can see 13.6 billion light years away. And to put 13.6 billion light years in perspective, 1 light year is just under 6 trillion miles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we can, and that's still not even the cusp of what is out there and what we can see. But like I said, I got some information. I'm looking at it on my phone, so if you see me looking off, I'm sorry. I got to read this from somewhere. I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. But all this information, I got it online. I didn't formally write it. I just copied and pasted it, changed a few words. I'm not taking it from mine. This was from NASA's website, from BBC. They did a whole couple articles about it. And these are smarter people than I, using their words. Like I said, this is not Jacob Battaglia talking, because I'm an idiot. But this telescope.
But you've got theories. You've got Battaglia theories.
I've got Battaglia theories, yeah. And I've got to dumb them down for everybody.
Dumb them down for me, yes. Please.
Dumb them down for everybody, not just you, me, everybody. Because not everybody's an astrophysicist, but you can still be interested in space and what's out there. Because when you think about that, we're just a big ball of gas and gravity and land and water that is perfectly in between everything. There was 9 planets, there's 8 planets, now there's so many exoplanets. They found endoplanets. We'll get into it. But there's just so much about space that is just so astonishing and just unknown, and the unknown is really what interests me. But I could talk about space all day, but we're talking about the James Webb Telescope. Okay, this is a dream. It started us, the European Space Agency, the Canadian Space Agency. We all got together. It was over 300 universities, organizations, and companies across 29 U.S. states and 14 countries. We all got together and built this telescope. And as far as it's not just a regular normal, just look in the air and you see a telescope, like a $200-300 thing that you got on 3 little legs that you hang on your porch. I've never had one, but they're still cool. I've always wanted one.
Those are rich kids.
Yeah, exactly. But this one, it is the primary mirror size, which is what shoots and captures photos, is 21.3 feet across. So that's pretty decent. I didn't put a picture of it on here, but you can look. I didn't get a picture of the telescope, but as far as what it captured, I got a lot of. But if you want to look online, either right now or in your spare time, of how big it is, like I said, I just got some stuff that I found online about it. But the sun shield of it, which is the mirror of it, I guess, Is 69.5 feet by 46.5 feet. And it says meters, but this is America. We don't believe in meters. We believe in feet and inches. The only country that does.
And yards.
America. Yeah. And the weightage on this, that's one of them.
Oh, that's crazy. I'm like pushing buttons. That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get into that one since you pulled it up. Oh no, you can pull it. You can pull it. You can pull. Yeah. This is one of the pictures it took. And like I said, it was literally a million miles from Earth. It went a million miles from Earth. It went to this place. It was called the L2. It's the Lagrange point 2. It's a gravitationally stable location in space. It's like I said, it's about a million miles from Earth, and it lies opposite of the sun. So it's on the back side of the sun. I'm guessing. Like I said, as much interest and information as I could put in it with the intelligence that I have, you know.
What is that capturing? What is that? It's like looks like it's like a portal to another world.
It's yeah. It is actually I got, like I said, I got a whole description about it. That is called a protostar embedded within an hourglass shaped cosmic cloud. And this was found on the information, like I said, that I'm sitting here quoting, is a BBC Sky at Night magazine. They're pretty top notch on what they talk about, and that's who I'm quoting. Like I said, I didn't make up none of this. This is all just secondhand information that I'm getting and receiving to you, because this is just so interesting.
That's what happens in conversations. We talk
exactly,
about what we heard, right?
Exactly. Yeah, but when you put it
share what we've seen, right?
When you put it on the internet, you want to make sure that people get their credit.
That's fantastic.
Because you don't want to, copyright infringement and all that. We are avoiding a lawsuit with our very small dream of ours. But this star, it says, is just 100,000 years old and thought to be in the earliest stages of star formation. And it's a star forming from what scientists gather. And that is what one of them looks like. It doesn't really talk about the whole where they're at, but this is the one I really wanted to show you. This is called the Pillars of Creation, Webb's Pillars of Creation. Okay. And this was in October 2022, when they released these to everybody, to the people. Okay. They released that. And it's a star forming region in this place called the Eagle Nebula that contains dense pillars of cosmic dust and gas. So I'm not going to sit here and go through nebulas and what's this and what's that. Like I said, these pictures are just interesting and they're just breathtaking. You can look at them. Like I said, you can go to NASA, you can go to BBC Sky at Night, you can go pretty much everywhere. Just type in James Webb Space Telescope images, and you will find so many beautiful pictures that it took. Granted, you got to go through certain ones and figure out if they're going to be good or not. They think this is what it can get and stuff like that. So it depends.
Pillars of Creation.
Yeah, it's called the Pillars of Creation.
That's insane.
Yes, it is. It is. This picture right here, that's probably my favorite one right there. That one is called the Carina Nebula. It's a glowing cosmic cloud found about 7,600 light years away in the southern hemisphere constellation Carina.
A cosmic cloud, so like gases?
Yeah, it's a big,
just in
space, about 76,000 light years away from us. Like I said, a light year is under 6 trillion miles. So we're talking about hundreds and thousands of millions of miles away. And it's just like I said, these pictures are crazy. You see stars, these are stars, and like I said, that is all gases. And it was captured by infrared light. Like I said, that's what makes it see so far. Is infrared is something that us humans can't see, but if you can see under it, you can puncture through darkness, and that's pretty much what space is for the most part. Is just darkness. It's pretty wild. This one right here, this is pretty cool. That is sick. I enjoy that right there. It looks like a cell or something, Um, yeah, that one is really cool. Like you got that perfect star in the middle of it. Um, and it is called, I forgot what it was called. They did a whole thing on it. Um, sorry guys, like I said, I'm not smart and intelligent by any means. So I gotta find I have a whole bunch of research on it that I've just, like I said, thrown together out of just interest. But it's a certain nebula too, and it's just crazy looking. Like I said, you can go through all these. There's ones of this place called the Phantom Galaxy. I didn't get a picture of it in here.
I believe I know it from Superman. Yes.
Yeah, but no, it's a pretty cool looking one too. You got this picture right here. Um, there's so many pictures. Like I said, each picture pretty much shows where it's at. You can look online and it'll tell you where it's at and what's going on around it and all that crazy stuff by people a lot smarter than me. But I just thought it was interesting. It was just interesting to look at what us humans can accomplish. Then you got this picture right here. That's another pretty dope one.
It looks like the Verizon service area across America.
It does.
Commercials.
Yeah. It does. That's funny. That's cool. But this is all taken, like I said, with infrared light, just millions and millions of miles away from us in other galaxies. Like other galaxies, there's universes and planets inside each of these galaxies. Like I could sit here and talk about space all day, but most of it's boring to a lot of people. But I find it just interesting what humans can accomplish when we set our minds to something. These are a whole bunch of stars. This is one of the first pictures that NASA actually released. You can, like I said, it's just space.
There's something said for it. There's something said for like seeking out, just adventuring out and do again that final frontier, that Star Trek opening monologue, seeking out, new adventures, new life, boldly going right
into the cosmos,
But it's the creation, seeking out the creator. I mean, there's something that's just so poetic about it. Talking about the pillars of creation. When I looked at that picture, I saw
a hand.
Yeah, I saw a hand.
We'll go back to it.
It looked like that.
Yeah. This is one picture of it.
Michelangelo,
that's another view of it. That's another view of it. It's a deeper picture. Like I said, a lot of this has been, some of it, like I said, it's been filtered and edited through different, but for the filters and stuff to make it look as pretty as it does. But this was another one. This is a most recent picture of Jupiter of what we got. You can kind of see the rings around it, and you see like each just distinctive layer of Jupiter.
And the big spot on Jupiter, it's like a storm or something. Like
it's a hurricane. Yeah, a tornado type thing. Yeah, and it's like I said, I'm just so interested by space, and you guys can do a lot more information, if you want to dive into it. The James Webb telescope. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he talks about it. He's been talking about it the past couple months. And
these pictures have just come back recently. I mean, or they come out recently, I guess.
It was October whenever they released them.
Okay.
And that, looking at those is really what got, oh wow, this is other people's dream, and I'm not smart, but talking about this dream to get to other people, because not a lot of people really took interest in it, but looking at just the raw beauty of it, and what we, like I said, we can see now millions and trillions of miles away from Earth with a camera that we made, and it's all and it's just crazy what we're looking at. Like I said, it's all beautiful, and I love what you were talking about, the creator and the hand, and it's just amazing what God's creation can do, and what he made it as.
What were you saying about the Earth being just the perfect?
We're not too close to the sun. We're not too far from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Like we spin just at a perfect. Everything about it is just perfect,
divinely created. It's so cool,
Yeah, it's awesome. It's amazing.
I was thinking, this about scripture. So in the book of Job, which is probably the oldest written book in the Bible, not timeline wise, or old, but yeah, timeline wise, it's probably the oldest manuscript, the oldest written, even though Genesis, the Torah, the 5 books of Moses go back, they go back to tell the story of creation. But Job was probably written before that, Moses lived, 1,500 years before Christ, and this is when he was writing after the Exodus, right? But so Job is in this before time, and
Right.
The book of Job has been passed down, of course. That story's been passed down, but and we know it now in the Bible. But there's a place in there where the Lord takes Job, he lifts him up, and he shows him the cosmos, he shows him everything, and he says, I think it's in Job chapter 26. He says, you who hung the earth, hung the world on nothing. He sees that, and this is, you're talking way before, Columbus, 1492.
Way before we were even here. Yeah.
But Job's talking about how the earth just sits there, just the perfect hung on nothing, space, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if I can, I'll look that up. I'll look up that scripture. But
yeah, no, it's like I said, it's just it's inspiring and breathtaking what we can do when we put our minds to it, man. When you just nose on the grindstone, like and we're going to talk about a touchy subject too on the subject of it. Most people might not believe in aliens, but I'm here to tell you, with all the millions and trillions of miles of space, statistically, it's not possible. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm bringing up. And I'm not going to talk about it any further because I promised my wife I wouldn't bring up aliens with the government. So,
like the X-Files, why would we not?
I know. Well, that's all I talk about is space. And
Job 26 verse 7 says, He stretcheth out the north over empty space, and he hangeth the earth on nothing. He stretcheth out the north, out the skies, right, upon empty space, and he hangs the earth on nothing. I mean, how fascinating! How fascinating to be such an old tome, probably 4,000 years old, and and for or older, and probably from the time of Moses, before or Noah, even before Noah, right, even before the flood. And here's Job speaking about what God has done and how the earth hangs in empty space. And I mean, trying to put it into words, he puts it so poetically. It's just it's such by feeling small, it's almost like you feel bigger. You realize you're a part of something bigger. When you look at this, you can go back to the dreams and the accomplishments of mankind, and what we've sought out to do is we've stretched out our hand just like the Lord stretched out his, and how he breathed life into us, and how we in turn breathe life into, the things that we try to see, come to fruition, our dreams and all the things that we try to,
our passions, our aspirations,
the things we love, the things we care about, we breathe life into that as well. It's the creation mimicking the creator. We're made in his image. We're designed to dream. We're designed to love. We're designed to praise, and we're designed to look at this beautiful stuff and see this. That's what fascinates me.
Exactly, and that is why I'm so fascinated with space, because you just look at it, you're just like, how?
You look at these pictures, and it's just
how. That is the first thing that always comes to my mind is how. How. And like whenever we look at something so big and it makes it seem so small yet so big, because it just makes it seem like, I don't want to say a cog in a machine, because I don't know. I don't want to live like a cog in a machine.
But we have a place.
Yeah, but as far as in the grand scheme of things, here's how your life intertwines with this person's life. Now this person's life goes with this person, and what these person accomplished with this person to make this thing, to make that happen for this person.
Everything is connected in the great circle of life. That's not Moses. That's Mufasa. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not Moses. Oh my goodness. Gideon would be all over it. Gideon is my 4-year-old he's not much anymore. We haven't seen it in a while. But he was in
Lion King.
Love
What?
with the Lion King, dude. He would quote it like all the time. Oh yeah, but like I said, guys, the James Webb Telescope, it blows my mind. 95% of what I said and what I read, I didn't understand, but that I still read it, because that's how that's how you gain knowledge, is by reading stuff you don't know, because one day you're going to know it if you keep reading it. And
or you're going to tune in to the Battaglia.
Or you're going to tune in, or you're going to tune in.
A couple of schmucks talk about it.
Yeah. The dunk down. Yeah, the smoke theory.
That's the first time I've seen these pictures. That absolutely was.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
And the craziest thing I heard tonight, Canada has a space program.
Yeah,
their police officers are on horses. How'd they get a space program? Their bacon is just ham. How did they get a space program?
Canadian.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Canadian bacon.
Yeah. Crazy stuff over there.
Canada's cool though, man.
I've been to Canada.
I've never been to Canada. I would love to go to Canada.
There's a lot of places in Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's cool. Dude, that's awesome.
He's married up there. He still lives up there. He's he retired from the pipe fitters union, but he worked up there for the last several decades. He married in the 90s in Canada. We flew out to Toronto when my parents were still married. So back in the 90s when I was young, we flew out to Toronto and to the wedding. And beautiful city, clean city.
Yeah,
beautiful,
nice people.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Nice.
Like I said, I've never been.
Very nice people.
Well, shoot, while we're talking about you, man, let's talk about you, dude. You're my guest for a reason. You know, we've been talking about a James Webb Telescope. I can't get that big old thing in here, but let's talk about Sam Scavo, man.
What do you want to hear? What do you want to know? Well, let me tell you. Let me tell your viewers. So,
yeah,
I've known this guy for a long time, and it's my pleasure every week. We get to we church together. He talked about it last week. He gave
Christ Point Church. You got one in Sparta, Tennessee, one in Smithfield, Tennessee, 9 and 11, and Sparta, and then just 11 here in Smithfield.
That's
We're on Facebook, YouTube. Christ Point Church in Sparta, Tennessee is the main page, and it'll bring you to Smithfield.
614 Murphy Street, Smithfield, Tennessee. Come see us. We're real people, live real lives.
Real 13 Liberty Square in Sparta. Yeah. I'm in Smithfield, so I don't know. That's just geographically. It's easy. But anyways, so like you were saying, every Sunday we get the privilege to be together, and
it's cool.
Take it away.
It's cool. It's cool that we get to worship together. We get to serve together. We get to just be real together because I mean we're doing life. People are doing life together. That's what really. It really is about connection. You're talking about positivity. You're talking about connection, and it really is about connection to each other. And you're talking about, what can we do to help each other? We carry each other's burdens. We're called to carry each other's burdens. A wise man once told me, he said, if you want to go fast, you go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you take somebody with you. You have somebody watching. So if we're talking about a spiritual journey, we're talking about, this thing called life. You take somebody with you. You do it with somebody.
Any journey.
Walk together for sure. And like the creation, seeking out the Creator, just like as we travel the cosmos, as we fire infrared telescope signals, across the galaxies to see this beautiful stuff. Christmas is right here. Christmas is right around the corner.
Yeah.
I knew nothing about this telescope. I knew nothing about this coming in tonight.
I told him. I was like, so we're going to talk about Christmas in space. Is that cool? If that's not a peek inside what it's like living inside Jacob Battaglia, that's why we call it the Battaglia theory, because everything I have is a theory, because 95% of it is probably not correct, but it is wild and wild pace. So
it's real. But Christmas is right around the corner, and you said you want to talk about Christmas, and I'd love to talk about Christmas, because while people are seeking out connection, while people are seeking out positivity, while people are seeking out the cosmos, while people are seeking out, I think it's so cool though, we're talking the connection with December 25th and the telescope.
I didn't even know that. And that's the thing. Until I literally just read it in my notes, because I was reading them all beforehand, but I just had so much information. I didn't even dive into half of it with you. So I felt like I was just rambling. Viewers, so you're welcome for that one. But yeah, I had no idea that it was even shot out on Christmas. But sure enough,
that's cool.
It is awesome, man. But yeah, Christmas, man.
There's the connection.
There it is. We did it. Here at the Battaglia Theory, we know what we're doing. Exactly, 100%.
Or do we?
Exactly. We just bumble through it. We make it look easy, boys.
There's so many people that are hurting. So many people that feel alone. I say feel alone. Not all are alone. You're never alone. But people who feel alone, or people who feel depressed or anxious, or with the holiday season right here, there's a lot of old nostalgia. There's a lot of old memories. There's a lot of people who are stuck on things, brokenness. So many people that are broken. So many people that are living in shame and addiction, and they're struggling. And again, they feel alone. And this seems to be amplified. At Christmas time, there's a lot of suicides. There's a lot of there's a lot of people who are really slipping into themselves and slipping into depression in the holiday season. And
Oh yeah, dude. Holidays, yeah, bro.
yeah,
Holidays, they're good for some people and they're bad for some.
they can.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've had some bad holidays. I lost my dad back in 2015, so that was what, 5, 7 years ago. Yeah,
absolutely.
sounds right. Math wise, I'm not.
That's right.
I'm.
What time of the year was it?
It was June.
What year?
Yeah, it was June 25th. Um,
Do you remember? I mean, was that first Christmas? Was that particularly hard?
it was everything. Just everything about it was hard. Everything about it was all just weird because it was the whole story of it all was really just interesting. And I guess, all right, well, since y'all know me and we're talking about dreams and stuff, so I was graduating from high school and my mom was finishing her dream. She was accomplishing graduating from college. She went back to school and got her education. And at the day she graduated like a month before I did. So
she's smarter than you, but go on. Yeah.
so, yeah, so much smarter than me. So much smarter than me.
She's probably
But
watching. She's like, he's my favorite.
she is. I don't know who's her favorite. But
It's Dominic. We all know.
it is definitely Dominic for sure. But no, so she about a month before I graduated, when she graduates, we are sitting in it was an IHOP, or I'm pretty sure it was an IHOP in Nashville, Tennessee, because that's where she went to Nashville State, I guess, and was college at the time. And so we're sitting there in this restaurant, and then she tells us that he's sick again. He struggled with hepatitis C for a long time, and it was just on and off. But he got rid of it, and then I guess it came back, and that's when they told us that it happened. And when it happened, it was just downhill after that. He ended up getting cancer, and within 2 or 3 months, that was pretty much it. He was gone. And so for being 18 years old, and my brother, he was 14 at the time. Yeah, 13, something like that. We're 5 years apart. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, so that first, just holidays in general are hard. They're even till to this day, they're still hard, especially now whenever you have a family of your own and you worry about, oh yeah, you wish you could have been there, all that kind of stuff. But then you just it's hard. Like you said, holidays are hard for a lot of people. Suicides are just everything about the holidays is either good or bad. And there's just no in between. But like you said, there's just so many people just out there.
They feel alone.
Yeah.
But they're not
in a room full of people, they feel alone.
For sure.
And I've been one of those people, dude. It happens. It happens to us all.
Even in your struggles, even when you're down, even when you feel like there's nowhere to turn, there's other people who feel the same way. You can reach out to people, you can talk to people, you can commiserate with somebody else and say, well, it's hard times now. Yeah, it's hard times right now. But you can turn to the Lord. You can turn to the reason for Christmas. And we talk about loss, but nothing's ever really lost. Now we know where it is.
Exactly.
And God's got it. We're not alone. And this Christmas season, this year in particular, Christmas falls on a Sunday. So when people wake up and they say,
one service, 10 a.m. both locations.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, shameless plug, right?
Yeah, not even a shameless plug. Christ Point Church.
That's part of
that's
part of why I want to be on here too. Is to invite the masses and to tell those folks that might be saying, listen, I'm looking for that kind of real connection, that same kind of connection that I feel maybe when I'm hanging out with my friends on the Battaglia theory, right?
Exactly.
I just want some real people who aren't going to judge me. I want some real people who are going to love me right where I'm at, love me in my gray area, And and what I'm seeking out, instead of the cosmos, and instead of my podcast dreams and stuff, I'm seeking out relationship and something real with my Creator, which is what is a creation we are. And we're seeking out that time with our Creator, and we can have that.
Exactly.
Ask and you'll receive. Seek and you'll find. Knock, and that's how the door gets open.
Exactly.
But you have to take those first steps. just like shooting, infrared telescope across the skies. If man never dreamed it, man never did it, man never, sought after it, he never would have achieved it. I'm talking about, well, I'm looking for proof of God. I'm looking for a touch from God. Are you really looking? Are you knocking at the door? Are you seeking? That's what I want to say about this Christmas season is the reason we celebrate Christmas, and it's not even the birth of Christ. That's by now everybody understands that
it was at a different time
for sure, right? I personally believe it was in the fall of the year. It was probably around the Feast of Tabernacles.
Yeah, us and the pagans are down.
Well, that's and even some of that stuff is it's debatable.
It's all neither here nor there, because here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up. It's all debatable, because here's the thing that I want to bring up. A lot of people on my podcast, they're struggling. They just don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not one of the thousands of Christians. You feel me? Because there's Christians and then there's Christians. There's people who have used God's name for a war tool and destroyed civilizations and killed thousands and thousands of people. And humans got too involved. Humans got too involved in what people call Christianity. Christianity has changed far from its belief, far from what it was originally intended, because people got a hold of it. But that's what we.
But you said it's what people do.
That's what people do.
We muddy the waters.
Yeah. So I'm not. No, whoever. It does not matter who, what, who you are, what you are, what you've been through, what's happened to
where
you,
you've been, right?
Who you are as an individual matters, not only to us here at the Battaglia Theory, but to God. Okay. And people need to know that, and they need to understand it does not matter. I don't care what half of these people on Facebook tell you, that believe in a white Jesus. Okay. It don't work like that. Like there's just, and there's so much pain being thrown around because of that. And it just, as somebody who really loves God and loves people, because to love God, you have to love people, and that's where you really see it.
He kind of commanded it.
He kind of commanded it. Exactly. And there's been so much hate and division thrown out because of that.
Well, you said it. I mean,
people wielding it as like I said,
his name has been taken in vain for so long
and used as a weapon.
People almost say, well, these Christians and their Christian ways, and they miss what that's supposed to be. A disciple of Christ, a Christian, is a Christ follower. Well, you're not acting like you're walking in the shoes of Christ. You're not acting like you're walking in the footsteps of God made flesh when you try to force your will upon other people. It's never man's will, and it's never man muddying the waters. It's God. But for those that are seeking, or for those that haven't even taken those first steps, you have to step out on faith. That's the first thing you do, is you step out into the unknown. You step into the darkness. It's easy to go caving when you have the headlamp. When that light goes out, that's when you're walking.
That's when you're trying to get that cave. Yeah, man, for sure. And like I said, I just wanted that to be known. So I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here
and preach. I will.
I wasn't gonna say that. I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people. I love each and every one of you, and so does he, man. And that's just all there is to it, and there's so much divisiveness and negativity that is thrown around by everybody for whatever reason, political, religion-wise, monetarily, you're here, they're there, whatever. Everybody thinks that they're there and they're there in division. And the longer that everybody, not just the American people, but as long as the world sees and realizes that all these fun imaginary lines that we draw, that we call states, that we call cities, that we call countries, it does not matter. It does not matter, because we are just divided. A house divided cannot stand. Okay, it will fall. And that's how people who run everything make millions and trillions of dollars, because we don't wake up and say, we're done with this mess. Like, this is why I'm so heavy on the people, man. The people, local, community. You start small, like we were talking about. You start small. You go from yourself to a girlfriend, to a wife, to a son, to a daughter, to another son, to whatever. and then you go from that to people around you. You go to church, you go to work, you go to the store,
Right.
you tip the waiter, you hold the door open for somebody. You say thank you for anybody doing anything for you, even if they do get paid to do it. Who cares if they get paid to do it, bro? Money is not what most people need at the time. And this is coming from somebody who needs money most of the time.
But kindness is free.
Kindness is free, 110%.
And priceless.
And priceless.
It matters.
Exactly. And I want all of you to look at this photo, or look at this photo. There's millions and millions of things that are going on right now in this picture to make this picture this picture.
Mm.
So many stars, so many colors, so many gases, so many molecules moving around in perfect symphony to make these beautiful things, to make everything that we're seeing, that's amazing. That's gases that make solar systems, that make galaxies, that make universes, that make planets, that make people, or people like things. That's it. Sorry. But and it, like I said, it's all just when you realize how small we are, but how big of an impact we can make if we just love, man. If we just see that when we work together, we can be this big grand scheme of things that is amazing and breathtaking, and that nobody ever thought possible, and that's why I started this podcast, because like I said, it's just important. It's important for us to know that. It's important for us to remember that, that we are one. We are all the same, bro. We are all people. Try to do what I can for everybody.
Listen, if folks don't see the love in you, and they don't see your servant heart, and they don't see the way you serve everybody you come in contact with, the way you want to take care of people, the way you serve at home and serve at church, and work your 9 to 5, on the nighttime side.
Yeah, my 10 to 6, goodness.
And I did it for a long time. I did third shift for a long time, and I know what it's like. We don't do it for ourselves, We do it for those we love, and we do it to change our world and to make things brighter and better, and that's all we can do.
Exactly.
And in our kindness and in the way we love one another, Jesus said, the world will know you're mine. You're my disciples. That's how they'll know you're a Christian, right? By the love you show one another. He said that on his last night alive. These are the last things you say before this side of the cross, before you die, and you go, you fulfill everything you're supposed to fulfill. The last things you say, those are the things that matter. You say those things because, listen, I'm getting this off my chest. This is the stuff you need to know. The world will know your mind by the love you show one another.
And that's what's helping me out, because I love people. I struggle with everything else, but I love people. So, well, boys, girls, ladies, gents, this has been a wonderful, beautiful podcast down here at the Battaglia Theory. I would like to thank my wonderful guest, Sam Scava, for tuning in with us. I'm glad I could show you some of the universe. Viewers on the net, I'm glad that I could show you the universe. And like I said, if you guys look at that universe and you say, wow, that star reminds me of me, and wow, that looks like somebody else, and then you realize that in the grand scheme of things, we all work together to make the picture. Holler at your boy at the Battaglia Theory at gmail.com. That was the most perfect shameless plug I've ever done. If you have an idea that you want in your business, in the business universe, your idea, business universe, the Battaglia Theory at gmail.com. Call me the James Webb Telescope, because I'll discover you and I'll do what I can to help you out. We love you. We appreciate you. Y'all have a blessed weekend. Don't do what I wouldn't do. See you guys. Thanks.
Fabulous.
Fabulous.